Okay, vendor advances, and in control data, I will have to select here reconciliation account for vendor. It cannot be considered as a customer. It always be a vendor. So select the vendor. Okay, and the create bank interest, we will have to consider the same reconciliation account. That's it. I'm just saving. So we have created 2,30,000 as alternative reconciliation account when we are posting an advance. So let's get into the configuration, the relevant configuration. Here, financial accounting, accounts receivable, accounts payable, business transactions, and you can see now down payments made. This is the one that we are discussing, down payments made. Okay, so expand here, define alternative reconciliation account for down payments. The path for this is SPRO, financial accounting, accounts receivable, accounts payable, business transactions, down payment made, and define alternative reconciliation account for down payments. Okay, just execute, and here we have different alternative reconciliation account. Now we have a concept called special GL indicator. So why are we using special GL indicator concept? Let me explain that part. Okay, so what I'm doing, so we have vendor reconciliation account. What is that? It is 1,30,000. This is a GL account. And we have vendor advance reconciliation account, which is 2,30,000. Now, whenever I have created a vendor, these are the GLs, right? Whenever I'm creating a vendor, so 200, 100, what I've done when I was creating this vendor, I have considered this GL as my reconciliation account. Okay, but whenever I'm posting the transaction, I don't want to consider this. I want to consider this 2,30,000 GL. Now we cannot go into the vendor master change from 1,30,000 to 2,30,000. And once we post the advances again, we will go back to the vendor master, replace 2,30,000 with 1,30,000. We don't do that. If you want to do that, lot of mess. That's going to be a big mess. We should not do that. Okay, of course we can do that. There is no harm in that, but we can do that. But how long you are going to do that? Maybe one business user, I mean, if you have one plant or one company code, yes, it is possible. You can do that. But if you have multiple, the company codes, multiple plants spreading across different countries, how can how can you do this? It's very difficult. That is not in your control, right? So someone, if in India, they made from 1,30,000 to 2,30,000 and want to post a transaction. By the time Singapore team wants to post an invoice entry, so that's going to be a big mess. So in order to avoid that, we have a concept called special GL indicator. The moment I enter any indicator, okay, the moment I select any indicator, I'm telling the system not to consider the original recon account, instead consider the other alternative recon account. The moment I consider this special GL indicator in the transaction, system automatically will not consider this, it will consider the alternative. Okay, so it means I'm giving an indicator to consider alternative. That indicator is nothing but special GL indicator. The moment we consider special GL indicator in any transaction, system will not consider the original recon account, and whatever the alternative recon account that we have assigned, that will be picked up. So that is the concept of alternative reconciliation account. Here we have different alternative reconciliation account. If we want, we can create. Of course, normally we don't use that. We have the standard one. A stands for advance. A is a special GL indicator. Okay. Similarly, we have one more called F, payment request, down payment request. F. So these are the two things that we will consider. So first, let's say A. Then we will discuss F little later. So once you have a knowledge on A, then you can understand it very clearly. So just double click on this, or you just keep your cursor here and go to details. Give our chart of accounts. Now here we are telling the system. Here we are telling the system. This is the reconciliation account, and this is the alternative special GL related reconciliation account. Okay. And here planning level, this is for a different module in FSCM. We can use there. And input tax clearing, you can assign one account key over here in order to clear your tax related stuff. So I'm not going to consider these, and I'm going to consider my reconciliation account and alternative reconciliation account. It means 1,30,000 over here and 2,30,000 over here. So 2,30,000, when does the system consider 2,30,000? When we are considering the particular vendor using, see, we have a vendor created with this reconciliation account in the master data. And when does the system consider 2,30,000? When we have a special GL indicator A in the transaction. If you don't have A in the transaction, system will consider 1,30,000. And if you have a transaction A in the, if you have an indicator A in the transaction, system will consider 2,30,000. Just to save. Okay, saving. Now let's see and post a transaction. Now, if you post FB60, it means an invoice transaction. Okay, I'm considering 200, 100. Posting date going to be 27th August 2019. 27th August 2019. Amount, if I say something, and I'm just selecting one expenses GL. Cost center I will take. Okay, now here if you go into the details, you can see 1,30,000. Still you're finding 1,30,000. Why? Because there is no special GL indicator mentioned here. Just save. Again, something went wrong on the customizing ledgers. Oh my God. Just select that. Just select the check P. Currency configuration for controlling. Okay, fine. SCC4, let's see. This is perfect only. Maintain controlling area, maintain controlling area. What is the problem? We have 1248. Double click on this here. Mhm. Okay, so what I will do, I'll go back there and change again the configuration. SCC4 change to euro. Okay, so let me pause this transaction. FB60, I'm showing just the same transaction. Okay, I'm entering some amount here, taking the GL account 12345. So cost center, I will say something over here and I'm just saving. Okay, document posted. If you go into the display, if I double click here on the vendor line item, I can see the GL only, the normal reconciliation GL. Now, let's post an advance. Let us post an advance. Okay, so let me get into the path. F-48 down payment. F-48. Path for this is easy access, accounting, financial accounting, accounts payable, document entry, down payment, and down payment F-48. Just select that, enter the date. Okay, now here I'm selecting the same vendor, but here I'll be selecting special GL indicator. The special GL indicator to be used is A. Okay, and as usually the bank account 2,20,000. Let's say we are paying an advance amount of 12,000, 12,500, and I will say today's date. Okay, oh sorry, I think today is 27th. That's fine, and I'm selecting a particular profit center. So select the relevant profit center. So our controlling area is 1248. So select the profit center, enter. An entry in the field profit center is not permitted for 2,20,000. So I'm just going into FS00. Let me take 2,20,000. Okay, let me go into the field status, which is Z009. Okay, OBC4 is the transaction code. Z009 is the field status group. Select that. Okay, here double click on that and go into the additional account assignment. Double click on additional account assignment. Keep the profit center as a optional. We don't have profit center here. We have. So if you're not finding profit center here, scroll down. You can find it over here. Otherwise, scroll further. Okay, that's it. This is the end. So you cannot go further. So now you can just pick up the relevant information here and just save. Okay, now let's post again F-48. Take the same data. take the same vendor special GL indicator as A and company bank account amount is this. I will say validate is something, profit center is this thing, enter. Now take same amount, okay, and just say as advance vendor advance. Okay, just go to document, simulate and post. Now if I double click here on this, double click on that, you see the GL account as 2,30,000. How did the system pick up this GL? Based on the special GL indicator A. The moment we enter special GL indicator A, system goes into the configuration, checks what the GL is assigned and picks up that accordingly. If the GL is not maintained over there, system will throw up an error. Okay, just to save now. Now, if I go here in FBL 1N report, if I go here in FBL 1N 200, 100 is my vendor. I will just say as open item and just execute. I will not be able to see that. I'm not finding this particular transaction. How do I get? Go back, select special GL indicator transactions. Special GL transactions. Now the moment you select here and execute, you will find this. I'm sorry. This is the date is the problem for us. 27/08/2019. Okay, I'm not selecting special GL and executing. We will not be able to find that transaction. Okay, we will not be able to find that transaction. This is not the one. Okay, so because here you have one option special GL, it is not selected over here. Now when I go back and select special GL transactions and execute, you will see now here you have A. A stands for advance 12,500. So you can see that as a special GL transaction. Any questions? Now after this 12,500 invoice, let's say we are receiving 15,000 of invoice. After 12,500 of advance, we are receiving 15,000 of invoice. Let us assume. Okay. Now you will see one information here. Now I'm receiving 15,000. So I'm entering now cost center. I'm pressing enter now. You will see one message. Of course, this is normal. This is not the one. This is also not the, or yeah, you can find this information. 12,500 USD down payments current assets. It means it is giving a message that there is some advance against this vendor. Just press enter. Okay, I'm just saving. Now you will find both of them in the line item report FBL1N, and if you see special GL and normal, you will find both of them. So execute, you will find both of them. See, 15,000 is this one, and 12,500 is this one. Okay, now this 15,000, out of 15,000 we have already paid 12,500. Now we are paying 2,500. Now at the time of payment of 2,500, I want to clear all of them: 15,000, 12,500, and 2,500. I want the entire transaction should be shown as a cleared item. How can I do that? So now we will see the payment, vendor payment. The transaction code for that is F-53. We have seen that already. Okay, I'm entering the transaction, let's say 27th August 2019, and bank account is going to be 2,20,000. Okay, and amount is going to be 2,500. We are paying 2,500. Value date is going to be today's date, and I'm not taking any profit center. It has to inherit from the original invoice, and I will take 200, 100. Now, if I don't select special GL indicator here, I would not be able to see the vendor advance transaction here. You will not be able to see that 12,500 advance thing. You will not be able to see. Okay, so in order to have them in that list, you need to enter special GL indicator. So in F-53, so 2,500, and I'm saying special GL A. I've entered A over here. Now I can able to see 12,500 also. This is the one. Okay. Now select all of them and deactivate. Just keep whatever are required. So 12,500 advance and 15,000. Now, no, I don't think this is a KR invoice. Sorry, this is not the one. This is KR. We need to have KZ here 12,500. This is the advance amount. Double click here on this and double click on the invoice amount 15,000. Now you see the balance 2,500 that we are paying. Zero is the net not assigned amount. Go to document, simulate. Okay, so just save. If you go back and see FBL1N, and I'll say this, now I'm just selecting open item. We will not find this particular transaction. We will not find that particular transaction at all. Okay, you can see them in the cleared item. If I say all items, so clearing document is one important thing. Okay, 15 all zeros 5 is the clearing document. This is the payment to document, right, for 15,000. Okay, so here we have an advance being adjusted. 12,000 already we have paid an advance that is getting cleared along with the invoice amount. Clear? So you will not be able to find that in the open items. Now, so far we have seen vendor advance. Sometimes we come across vendor advance request. Vendor advance request. Okay, sometimes we come across vendor advance request. Okay, so sometimes we come across vendor advances request. Request in the sense the amount is not happening, but vendor is requesting, he's sending a mail or you know uh, a mail or postal or any kind of thing that he is sending a request to the business for an advance payment before the invoice is happening. So it means in such a case, we will have vendor request. Based on the vendor request, we will do advance, and based on the advance, we will do invoice and followed by the payment. Okay, request also happens. In the case of request, it is not a finance document. It means the finance is not happening. The advance is not at all happening. So it is just a request. We call it as noted item. Okay, so we will have to do a little configuration on this. So let's go into the same area. So financial accounting, going into the same area, define alternate reconciliation account for down payments. Instead of A, now we will have to select F, payment request. Double click here on this, give a chart of accounts and select the same reconciliation account. If you have multiple reconciliation accounts, you will have to select all of them here along with the reconciliation, alternative reconciliation account. So this we are doing it for special GL indicator F. F for down payment request. Okay. F stands for down payment request. That's it. I've just selected the same thing. Okay. Now let me go there and let me process a down payment request and we'll see what is the impact of it. Okay. Going into accounting, financial accounting, accounts payable, document entry, and the down payment. Here you have F-47 request, down payment request. Okay, just double click on this, enter the date 27th August 2019, 27th August 2019, and I will say the vendor 200, 100. Now the special GL indicator. Now, if I select F, system will not allow me to do that. Okay, I'm just selecting F because F is for down payment request. Let me consider F. Now system will stop me here. It says special GL indicator F is not defined for down payments. So even though it is a request, even though the configuration is happening for F, system will not consider F directly. The moment we consider A and system understands based on the transaction, system indirectly calls F, that special GL indicator F, but system will not allow us to take F directly. Okay, and just enter what is the down payment request that we have, 12,500, or just say 19,000, and the due on. So customer is saying by 30th August, I mean our supplier is saying by 30th August um, he wants the advance amount. Okay, and I will say down payment request. Okay, now if I try to simulate, we don't have an option called simulation at all here. Why the simulation is not there? Because it is not a finance document, it is just a request. Now if I save it, we will have a document number. We will have a document number. Now when I go here and see the document display, I'll have only one line item, 19,000. I'll have only one line item. Now if I go back and see my vendor line items, here I'm just selecting open item, okay, and I'm executing. I would not be able to see 17 series document number at all here. 19,000 request. But when I go back and select noted item, now I would be able to see that. See here, 19,000. It says as special GL indicator F. So directly we cannot consider F while posting the transaction, even though the configuration we have for F, even though we have a request, but still directly system expects A only, and based on the transaction, system calls F, which is nothing but special GL indicator. Now with this advance request, we can make the down payment followed by the next process. And how do we make the advance payment using this request? The process is the same. Okay, let's go back here. Let's go back to F-48, and I'm just entering the details. So the request normally nobody will consider. So just for your understanding, I'm just putting this. Now here the request amount is 19,000. You can see over here request. You can just select this. You will have a line item. Okay, so you have this request. This is the request. Okay, select the same thing. Click on create down payments. That's it. Okay. So 2,20,000 is our bank account, and this is the vendor account, 19,000. Just saved. Now if you go back and see the vendor line item report, and I'm just selecting the same normal items, special GL transactions, noted items. Now, mm, okay, now I'm executing. You can now the same 19,000 is converted into A. Earlier, it was a it was with F. Now the same thing became as A. A stands for advance. Any questions?
Nanda, suppose instead of 19,000, if we make only 15,000 payment, so can we have capability of changing
We don't have an option to change, but you can directly make instead of using this, you
request?
will not be calling, in that case, you will not be calling the request.
Okay. And can we also change the default date, because always it comes 1st January 2019?
No, that's a system date. That's basically the
Oh, I
system.
see. Okay.
The system date has to be changed. That's the basis activity.
Oh, okay.
We cannot do that. That's a basis activity. There is some transaction code, I don't remember exactly, but using that we can change. I'll figure that out if it require. But unnecessarily people are some other people are also using, right? So unnecessarily that's going to be confusion for them.
Okay.
Yeah, of course it is little, irritating for us, but let's go ahead use the same thing. you know when we have of this kind of system, people will go make a lot of changes that will become the galata for us, right? That will be a problem for us. Okay, so this is basically the special GL transactions. Okay, any questions? Okay, the next we have is a park document. As I mentioned earlier, if you post any park document, you can come and check by selecting this. Okay, so this customer item that we will see later, not required at the moment. So that's about the advances, and tomorrow we will discuss some more topics. Okay.
So we are gonna talk about the Park document tomorrow.
No, park document is the same, right? Whatever we have discussed in GL, it's going to be the same.
Okay, so the Park document and the whole documents, right, is the
Yeah,
same.
hold, park, sample document, recurring documents, all are same. The
Okay.
same thing will come up there. We have considered GL accounts. Here we will be considering one of the line items as vendor. In the case of customer, we will be considering customer as one of the line items. That's it. Okay, fine. So tomorrow we'll continue other topics. Thanks a lot.